Alrighty guys, as again brings another Dragon Ball Legends ToP guide video. So I know it is coming in late. We are going to be doing, well, you guys are gonna have to give me a little bit of time. Right after this video goes live, I'm going to be doing the first part of the actual walkthrough to pair alongside this season, right? So this is in regards to season 67. Last season we hit rank 5,335, which isn't exactly top cut material, but that doesn't even matter since we did receive the guaranteed 1,000 juicy CC, right? So we're gonna do it again. Not gonna lie, last season was very difficult, but we did come out with new knowledge in terms of the fights that we go against, so I still consider that somewhat of a win. And before we move on, always remember that there will be timestamps in the description down below. That way you guys can go ahead and get to where you need to go. And the first thing that we're going to be talking about, as per usual, is our pathing right here. So the circled red fights are going to be the most important fights, right? Because this game does, or this game mode does favor your win streak bonus, right? You can get a win streak bonus all the way up to 25 because that's how many stages there are. If you land on a yellow stage, you land on a healing stage, you're not going to be getting that 25th win streak bonus, and it's a very considerably huge bonus, right? So that's where the fights are circled right here, the 5th increment, 10th, 15th, 20th, and so on. What I'm going to tell you guys right now is I tried to make this as easy as possible once again, but some of the fights are just rough. As for the last fight, you can see right here that I do have the tile circled with Kefla on it. Once you get to that second to last fight, you can land at either 3 of those stages right there. And I guess I'll go ahead and circle them real quick for you guys as well. But all of those boss fights are terrible. All of those boss fights at the very end, the 25th fight, are absolutely horrendous. Alright, so now moving on to tips and tricks. The first tip I'm going to give you guys is to farm your equipment, right? You don't need pinnacle equipment, you don't need Z+ equipment, godly equipment. You just need decent equipment. Right here, as you can see, I'm rocking A's, C's. Well, the C's are mostly for this one right here. I think this is a necessity on all your units. I would farm this one because it just gives an increment to your base health, right? Up to 5% right there. You get this from the rare metal shop. So speaking of the rare metal shop, they have a tab specifically catered to ToP, right? And so there's going to be these equipments that I do recommend right here, like this one specifically for melee type. So if you're running melee type units, you're going to want this, and then it's going to have that for each typing, right? So range type right there, this one's for defensive type, and then this one's for support type, right? And then the second one that I usually do have on is this ToP Explosive Clash. This one sucks. I don't like this one because it's restricted to your stars, right? You need 7 stars or above right here, and for the most part you're gonna have your startup units on your ToP team, so it's not necessarily the biggest setback in the world. But for example, like I was using that red Gohan for a while there, he's only at 6 stars, and so obviously I can't use this, right? That kind of blows, that kind of sucks, but it is a really good equipment. And as for your third one, I've already said I do like this one to increase my base health. The second thing is Friendship Ring. Friendship Ring is so important in this game mode. You can see right here, this Fatenks is Friendship Rank 10. His key restore speed is 2,612, which is really good, right? That's a really good standard. 2,600, anything above that is a really good standard for this game mode because that dictates if you're going to attack before your opponent or not. And then if we look at his regular stats, you can see that that drops all the way down to 2,488, right? The reason is directly correlated to that friendship rank. The higher your friendship rank, it caps out at friendship rank 10, the more stats you're going to be receiving for this game mode. And you won't see it just in your key restore speed, you'll see it through all of your stats right here. So get your friendship rank up. In order to get your friendship rank up, I would say the easiest way is doing the Let's Fight events right here. You get 3 of these a day. This is for one singular unit. I do recommend doing not only that, but also creating a friendship rank farming team. As you can see right here, this is the team that I use to form friendship rank. I have this equip on all of them. This is going to be the Shallot and the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan equip. You can get it from the Z Metal shop, and you get a percentage to an increased percentage to friendship points gained, and these stacks. So you can see I have this equip on all of my units right here, right? Literally all of them. So you want to farm them for all 6 of your team members and then go into this. Another way of doing this, an extremely slow way of doing this, is going into the story mode. You're going to want to go into part 6, book 1, chapter 8 against Super Saiyan 3 Goku. This is also another stage where you can farm friendship rank, but at an incredibly slow rate. The only benefit of this fight is that you can bring in 3 units. You can farm 3 units friendship rank at once versus only being able to farm up 1 unit's friendship rank through the Let's Fight event. So this is the first fight that we come across. This is the Frieza stage. We've seen this before. This is just a little bit different because there's multiple yellows this time. There's 2 added yellows right here, right? You want to kill this Kaioken Goku first since he does super attack on turn 2, and then I'm gonna save the full power Frieza for last since he will super you upon mitigating a blast arts, right? He'll only get that super attack if you hit him with a blast arts. You can mitigate this altogether if you swap all your units over to strike based, which I'll go ahead and show you. So in order to swap your units to strike base, you're gonna go ahead and click on the unit that you desire. Next to the left of their HP bar, there's going to be a little blast icon. You click on that, and then you just swap that over to strike, and then you hit confirm, and you're good to go. And then once you're done, you just go ahead and swap it back. So the next fight we have is this God Key stage. This actually reminds me of the Yellow Kid Gohan stage a little bit, right? Because you want to kill this Goku first since he does super attack on turn 2. If you can, in turn 1, kill the Goku and the Beerus, that is ideal, right? Remember that Beerus does have a stun at the start of turn 2. Next, we do have this Android stage right here. I do advise going for the green 21 first since he will stun you at the start of turn 2. And going for this yellow 16 last, because he does give death buffs to the team. Next, we have this Goten stage is what I'm going to go ahead and call it because you have to kill Goten first. There's no way you're going to be able to outblitz him on turn 2, which is when he'll get his super attack, because not only does Goten have a high key restore speed already once he transforms, this Hercule is also giving a passive buff to key restore speed to the team. Alright, so next we have this all Goku stage. I do advise going for the Super Saiyan 1 Goku first, just because he does get a buff per defeated ally, so he can increase that damage pretty exponentially. And then since we are running regen, I would advise going for the Super Saiyan 3 Goku since he does have that buff against regeneration. Next is this Broly stage. So this is going to be one of the harder fights. It's a 5-fist stage. These guys are going to be incredibly annoying, mostly because there's double stuns right here, right? So you want to try and avoid those stuns if you have the damage for it. If you do have the damage for it, go for the Ultra Broly first since he stuns at the start of turn 2, and then this purple Sparking Broly since he stuns at the end of turn 2. Alright, so next we have this Wrath of the Dragon stage. I do advise going for the red Tapion first since he does reduce one of your unit's super gauges to 0 at the start of turn 2, and then we're gonna have to play around with the stage a little bit. We're gonna have to get comfortable with it because this purple Tapion, he debuffs your entire squad after receiving an attack, right? I think he gives like plus 5% to damage received to all enemies, right? And so typically I would just be like, okay, we'll save him for last, right? That's the easiest answer there. But he also has a cover change, right? And his cover change is not health restricted, so we have to go ahead and we have to see who he's actually cover changing here in this lineup. And so next we do have this Ultra Rose stage, right? This one's gonna be a little bit rough as well. Thankfully it's only 3 fists. Rose does get 100% to his special right off rip, plus I think like 150 to his key recovery. So he's probably going to attack early on. It's going to be another one of those stages where I haven't came across yet, so we're going to have to experiment with it. But for now, I would just advise don't use a blue unit here unless you're going to be doing what I'm doing. I'll give you a little sneak peek at the regeneration team that we're going to be using right here. I'm probably going to swap out 2 of my blues here and then keep Fatenks next to this Piccolo, right? This green Piccolo actually is going to come in clutch here because he can perform a cover change for 2 units above him or below him, and it's not health restricted. Also remember that this Janemba right here, this red one, upon using a blast arts on him, he will mitigate it and also stun you. Plus purple Tapion is here too. Alright, so next we have this Frieza Force stage. It doesn't look that bad on first glance, right? Obviously, I'm going to save this full power Frieza for the end since he can possibly get that super attack. I'm not bringing purples here either, which is going to be a common trend when I see this yellow Frieza right there. But this LF Frieza and this red Frieza, they both stun you. You can't avoid it. It starts at turn 1, right? So you kind of have to just eat it. That's the biggest downside of actually landing on this stage right here. But other than that, I don't think it's going to be too terrible, especially if you have a couple reds on here. There's no blues, right? So your reds can kind of just reign free. So next we have this Bardock stage. Nothing too special here. You want to kill the DBS Bardock last though, because he does give death buffs. Just also be cautious of him because once he gets below 50% HP, he will green card, and that green card will give him 100% to his special move gauge. Alright, so for this GT stage, I don't think this one's going to be that bad either. I would say go for this yellow Goku first, since he does possess that special cover rescue, and then go for the tag boys, the tag Super Saiyan 4s, right? Those are the biggest threats on the squad. So next we have another double stun stage, right? We got Beerus and the Whis stage. Both of those units will stun you. Just choose one to avoid. Typically, I like going for the Whis over the Beerus on turn 1, just because the Whis does provide support for some of these units, well, specifically for Beerus, I guess. But yeah, they will both stun you at the start of turn 2. If you can get them both in turn 1, obviously that probably is going to be ideal. But just to play it safe, I probably would go for Whis first, and then this yellow Piccolo, because remember, yellow Piccolo will super at the start of turn 3. And then the next Everest, I suppose you could say, is going to be this all Goku Black stage, or Zamasu stage, I should say. Ultra Rose, he's gonna super you. I would heavily advise not bringing any blues to this fight. You can see it's a very stacked green fight. Next we have this mini fusion stage, I guess. Well, there's 3 fusions here, I suppose. This purple Goku is going to stun you. Turn 1, can't do anything about it. What you can do is kill this green Gogeta early on, because at the start of turn 3, he will super attack you and he will stun you. You don't want that to happen, so make sure you kill that green Gogeta first. And then I talked about it a little bit in the pathing, but the last fight that I have circled is this fight. Look at how terrible this looks. 4 ultras! If you see the 4 ultras and you just tremble in fear, you can go for this. This stage also looks terrible, right? It's the superhero stage. There's double support. Yeah, it looks pretty bad, right? This stage also looks pretty terrible. Well, I guess this one is a little bit more manageable because there's only 2 ultras here. But still, the fusion tag is tanky, right? If you guys have fought fusions before, we have on the channel, and they are pretty tanky right here. The only reason why I circled this stage is just because it's the 5th stage. If you have the super attacks and you have the confidence in your units, then this is probably going to be the best stage in terms of points. So now moving into top teams, the first team we're going to be mentioning is USS. They are currently dominating the top ranks on the leaderboard. Of course, I do have to mention this Blue Kale, as she is your designated healer. She does heal that row above you right there. She also goes ahead and just gives them a 10% to damage inflicted, which is very nice. She does cater towards Universal Survival Saga, Rival Universe, and girls. Purple Vados can be replaced by this purple Bergamo. They do similar things, but I kind of do like the Bergamo more, since he has a faster charge rate to his super gauge, as long as he's on a universe reps, Rival Universe, or this Element Purple team and stuff like that, right? And I actually have 2 setups to show for this team right here, right? Because alternatively, you can use Yellow EX18 as your healer, as well as busting out your Go Frieza. This guy is rank 4 at the time of recording. That is pretty damn good, right? With someone like Go Frieza, because Go Frieza is what, C tier, right? So that man is like getting no points, right? He's getting no percentage and stuff like that. Rank 4 is very impressive for that. I actually recommend this setup a little bit more, since it looks incredibly safe. You can even throw on the Kale for double healing if you're still in short, right? I would just replace that blue Berserk Kale for the base Kale. Alright, so next we have girls. They are also going crazy this season. I like this setup in particular, since there are 2 healers at your disposal. Right here on the right or left hand side, I don't know where I'm placing the image actually, right here. Regen has some nice debuffs, right? We can go ahead and take a look at what she's doing right here. You can see it's not the entire enemy board, but she's only missing 4 slots right there. That's nice. And do not sleep on this red Kale, man, because she does have a cover change unrestricted by HP. Right? There's no HP restriction right here, which is why I like her so much. The weakest unit on this guy's setup here is the yellow Zenkai 18. I would not be opposed to you guys replacing her. For me, you can see I do have this yellow 18 right here, and she does heal ally tag androids or universe reps. So where I have her placed right here, she would be healing this Regen, right? Because she is a universe rep, and she would also be healing this urine. That's another thing too. I like the urine over the green or Zenkai 18. If you guys want to use the Zenkai 18, I'm not opposed to it either. She does have a big heal at the end of the first turn, right? She restores her health by 10%. That's quite a lot, but it also makes you want to get hit in that first turn rather than any other turn with this unit in particular, right? Because say no one hits you on turn 1 and you get that 10% heal, great, but no one hit you. And then say you take like 3 hits on turn 2 You're not getting any positive effect from those heals, right? So the next team we have is Frieza Force. If it was up to me, honestly, I probably would run this squad, low key. I think this team has so much potential. I only saw like a handful of them. I think like maybe 2 or 3 of them in the top 100, but this team looks like it's gonna cook, right? I highly recommend Blue Revival Frieza here though, since he is a healer for ally tag Lineage of Evil or Frieza Force. If you want extra heals for specifically Frieza Force, it's not gonna heal your cooler units, but you can bring in the Yellow Guldo / Raccoon unit, since they also heal Frieza Force / Ginyu Force, right? The triple yellows here do go hard because you have a super with this guy. As long as he gets blast, as long as he eats a blast arts, right? I know that's a little bit of RNG, but we're gonna go ahead and let that slide. But so he's getting a potential super attack. He is going to be Zenkai buffing yellow Lineage of Evil characters. And then you have this guy right here. Hopefully you guys have him Zenkai'd and at a high amount of stars, unlike me, right? But at the start of the second turn, he inflicts all enemies with attribute upgrade plus 10% to damage, receive plus 25% to his own special move gauge. Pre-Zenkai, right? That's a pre-Zenkai ability. That's amazing. If you guys have this guy I'm going to insert this right here. If you guys have this guy at high stars, include him on your Frieza Force team, and please let me know how it goes, because he's getting 2 supers, and one of those supers is automatically an ultimate, right? And then you have this guy right here, and I'm going to glaze. I'm going to stroke him off so much. This guy looks amazing. I know we didn't get a chance to go over him when he first released, but 50% to damage inflicted, 30% to blast damage. Started the 4th turn, restores health by 2%, plus 20 to key recovery, and 30% to special move gauge. So he's farming that often. He gets special move arts activation, 20% to special move damage inflicted, and every time this character defeats an enemy, you restore your own health by 3%. Activates 1 time, and then 20% to special move gauge activates. I don't know why it says every time this character defeats an enemy. It only activates once for both of these, but those are really good abilities, right? I would say for the EX units, it's a little bit difficult. I still recommend you having them at least 6 stars, because it can be difficult otherwise, but this guy looks pretty damn good. Plus he's getting that Zenkai buff right there, right? And then another thing here is, since you're running both of these purple Zenkai units, right, they both Zenkai buff Lineage of Evil right here, or well, Lineage of Evil on Frieza Force. Guess who falls into that category? Go Frieza, baby! Go Frieza's in there! So he can get the double Zenkai buffs here and do phenomenal. He could do work. And so next we have a GT right here. Right, so you can kind of just copy paste this team, or well, there's only one difference between my team and the one shown on the right hand side right here, right? So Super Baby 2 will always be a must bring unit for regeneration or GT to me, right? Being one of the best healers in the game mode. The Kid Goku Zenkai, this guy will super attack every other fight. He does get 50% to special move gauge at the start of the 1st turn. Both of the EX Shenrons are amazing too, right? So the Sin Shenron, he will buff the entire board for your board of allied GT tag members. And then this guy, he fills more of a DPS role, right? A damage dealing role, because on blast arts, he gets plus 5% to special move gauge, right? So you multiply that by 4 potential blast arts attacks. That's already 20% a fight. That's not bad at all. And you can also go ahead and just mix and match some of these units as you please. Like, I would not be opposed to you guys diving into C tier and picking up, say you have the tag 4s, which I did not, which makes me cry to this day. I wouldn't be opposed to that at all. And if you don't have that red Majube right here, this guy, obviously he's in a lower tier, but he has the ultra ability that caters to GT, so he is providing support for the team. He's getting self-inflicted buffs because of being on the GT team, and he's just pretty durable overall. I like him. I used to use him way more than I used the Red 21. I mean, he was my designated red unit before Red 21. So for the final team that we will be talking about is Regeneration. So let's go ahead and go step by step into this. I'm telling you guys, I want to bring in this guy so bad. I probably would slap him on here instead of if you have him at high stars, if you want to try him out, the only thing holding me back from using him right now is the fact that he's only 2 stars. If I had him at 6 or even 7 stars, I would slap him onto the squad over the EX Baby Vegeta, over this guy right here. We already glazed him a little bit in the and the Frieza Force setup, but I really do enjoy his kits. So that's the only pickup that I would say from Z tier. The rest are kind of booty. S tier, we're picking up multiple units here, which is good for our points, right? We have the Gohan, we have the Purple Cell, we have the EX Baby Vegeta. Purple Cell and EX Baby Vegeta are awesome because they both are debuffing units, right? He debuffs the entire enemy ward. This guy debuffs specifically all enemies, right? So for blast damage, and we typically do run blast-based units. And then we can go ahead and move on to A tier. We do have this green Piccolo. I think he's going to come in clutch because of the fact that he's going to be able to cover change for super attacks. We are going to be going up against a Rose and stuff like that. So I think he is going to be helpful in that aspect right there. And then in B tier, we do have 3 units here. So we have our Fatenks, guaranteed super attack, this purple Janemba. I wanted to at least bring 2 purples. I'm not opposed to you guys swapping this guy out for another purple, but this guy is just really beefy. I'm just a fan of him. But I do feel like eventually we're going to need a new purple because his damage is definitely falling off rapidly as each season goes by. And then obviously Red 21, she's still great. I like her. I'm gonna pair up both of the reds here. And then C tier, we have our beloved Super Baby 2. Let me know if you need any replacements for this team in the comment section down below. Alright, so now we're going to go into our new units, and we're going to be skipping some of the past new units that we missed out on, right? Because the video is just going to be way too long, I think. So first, Vegeta and Goku, maximum stats right here. Let's look at the ToP stats. First thing I look at is key restore speed, 2,451. Is that the same for both of them? Yes, it is. He has the blue card, obviously no ultimates here because of the tag unit. At the start of the battle, multi-target, 100% to 1 damage inflicted. That's pretty steep right off rip. Minus 20% to damage received, and you inflict all enemies with attribute downgrade. Minus 30 to key recovery. That's going to be really annoying to fight against if we do have to fight against this guy. My battery is incredibly low. After receiving an attack, you restore own health by 1%. That seems a little bit low. Activates twice though, so a whopping 2% heal there. And then you inflict enemy with attribute downgrade plus 5% to damage received. On attack against unfavorable element, you get 10% to special move damage inflicted by allies in range. Okay, some support right there. 10% to blast damage inflicted by allies in range. And you perform a tag switch that activates one time. Does not activate during the rush. And before receiving a strike, blast, or special move arts against unfavorable element, you restore health of allies in range by 1%. What's the range? That's a good range. Okay, so he heals too. He heals his squad. 5% to special move gauge of allies in range. What? Activates twice? Dude, he's farming super attack for his allies. No, he's broken. I don't even need to read anymore. He's broken. Perform attack switch. Activate element factors or reverses own element factors. Activates once. Effective will activate even if an ally performs a cover change. That's amazing. So start of the first turn, 20% to damage inflicted for 2 turns, 20% to key recovery for 2 turns, and 15 nullifies with normal conditions, and then 15% to special move gauge. I think he's broken. At the start of the third turn, own health is 50% or below. Okay, that's kind of trash. I don't like the health restriction there. 20% to damage inflicted for 2 turns, 10% to key recovery for 2 turns, and 25% to special move gauge. If he's an enemy though, you have to be scared of this. You have to respect him. And on special move arts hits, you inflict can attack for 1 turn. He is absolutely amazing for ToP. The tag units are just always broken in ToP is what it feels like. Alright, so next unit, let's take a look at Beaston right here. ToP stats, maximum stats. What are we looking at? 2,200. What about after transformation? 2,200. Ew! It's pretty trash. Only has the blue card here. Started the battle, 80% to damage inflicted. Started the first turn, 10% to damage inflicted by allies in range. That's a good range right there. 20% to straight damage inflicted. Started the second turn, 20% to damage inflicted, 20% to key recovery. That's going to help a little bit right there. Right? I like that. On receiving an attack against unfavorable elements, you restore health by 1%. Activates twice, 2% heal. And then 15% to damage reduction. Right. At the end of turn 2, 40% damage inflicted. Cancels attribute downgrades in abnormal conditions, and at the start of the third turn, you transform. Restore health by 2%, 30% to special move damage inflicted, and you nullify abnormal conditions. Fourth turn, before receiving a strike arts allies in range, You perform a cover change. Unrestricted cover change on 4th turn, though. That's kind of a long time, no? Right? What do you guys think? And at the start of the 4th turn, you activate special action. You get 50% to key recovery and 50% to special move gauge. So he's really, really good. He just has a long startup time, right? It takes a while. Like he gets a lot of his stuff on the 4th turn. I would say he is 2 pegs below Evo Ken, right? He's still really good though. Alright, so next we have Golden Frieza, ToP stats, maximum stats right here. 2,270, pretty low. He does have an ultimate and a blue card. At the start of the battle, 50% to damage inflicted, 15% to damage reduction, plus 40% to Q recovery. That's pretty solid. And then 100% to special move gauge. Oh nah, bro. This guy's, as long as they don't shaft him with this tier, dude, Frieza Force is going crazy. I should have included this guy on the Frieza Force team if you guys have him. I'm pretty sure most of you guys do have him. On special move arts hit, 30% to own damage inflicted, 5% to own ultimate damage inflicted, inflicts enemy with attribute downgrade, plus 10% to damage received, and inflicts enemy with heavy bleed. On ultimate arts, all enemies you canceling buff effects. Oh my, I'm dying. Minus all enemies, minus 10% to damage inflicted, plus 15% to damage received, minus 15% to key recovery. Holy crap, bro. He's nuts. He does have a strike cover change. It's health gated by 30%. On Blast Arts attack, 15% to Blast Arts damage. At the start of the 4th turn, 10% to ultimate damage, and another 100% to special move gauge. Upgrade special move arts too. As long as there's 2 or more enemies remaining, he can potentially be super attacking 2 times in one fight. He actually might be the Messiah. The best damage dealer in ToP right now. If you guys have this guy I'm going to insert this right here. If you guys have this guy at high stars, include him on your Frieza Force team, and please let me know how it goes, because he's getting 2 supers, and one of those supers is automatically an ultimate. After receiving an attack, own health is 60% or below, restores health of allies, and he heals too? He heals too, but below 60%, 10% to damage inflicted by allies, cancels abnormal conditions, restores own health by 2%, and cancels own attribute downgrades. He is broken. Alright, so now let's do Gotenks, right? So we got Gotenks right here, ToP stats, maximum stats, 2,400. So that's a sustainable key restore speed right there. Blue card, Fusion. Oh, he buffs the entire board. I like that already. I like that. 10% to damage inflicted by allies in range. He has max range, 70% to own damage inflicted, minus 15% to own damage received, plus 15% to own key recovery. So he's gonna be good at key recovery. So out of the 1st turn, applies buff effect, restores 10% of damage received, inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade minus 5% to damage inflicted, 15% to damage received, and minus 5% to key recovery. So pretty solid right there. Does have a strike arts cover change, but it is health gated by 30%, which kind of sucks. 15% to damage inflicted for 1 turn, inflicts enemy with attribute downgrade minus 5% to damage inflicted for 2 turns, and minus 5% to key recovery for 2 turns. So he's more of a debuffer unit. He's not bad, but he's definitely more of like a support type, I would say. And on receiving an attack, minus 5% to damage received. I think he's not bad, but I think he's the weakest of the 4. Right? Not saying that he's bad, don't take those words out of context, but the other guys are just a little bit more insane compared to him. Finally, we had Red Ribbon Army Piccolo, free to play Piccolo. Display maximum stats. I still gotta farm this guy and make a video for him. 2,401, workable, right? We can improve that with friendship rank. He does have just a regular blue card here. Behind enemy line, 60% damage inflicted, minus 15% to damage received, and 10% to key recovery. I like that. 25% to damage inflicted on attack, right? And then 10% to damage inflicted for 2 turns. Inflicts enemy with attribute downgrade plus 10% to damage received for 2 turns, and minus 5% to key recovery for 2 turns on the enemy. And at the start of the turn, multi-target, 10% to damage inflicted by allies in range for 1 turn, inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade minus 5% to damage inflicted for 1 turn. Another, well, he is a support type, right? Support type unit doing support type things. At the end of turn, if there are 5 other allied episode sagas from the movies, or event exclusive, or tag regen, ooh, Ooh, regeneration. We might be able to use this guy. This actually might be the replacement we're looking for with Janemba. You restore health of all if allies in range by 1%. Oh, he's the healer. It's done for. It's done for. We're using this guy. Holy smokes. 10% to damage inflicted for allies in range for 1 turn. Inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade plus 10% to damage received for 1 turn. Inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade minus 10% to key recovery for 1 turn. Should we use this guy? Oh my god, I kind of want to use him more than the purple Janemba. Alright, so that's going to wrap it up for this guide video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. I'm going to immediately start working on the walkthrough video, so stay tuned for that. Be a little... I know I ask a lot of you guys by being patient and stuff like that, but I really do appreciate it. By the way, if you guys are still listening all the way up to this point, I passed my midterms with flying colors, dude. I am so really... Obviously, it's already about that time to get into finals and stuff like that, but midterms, I did phenomenal. And I'm so happy. It's definitely a big weight off of my shoulders. But anyways, going back to the video, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns related to TLP, any replacements, any of that good stuff, let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Let's all get that juicy 1000cc, baby.